There is a battle that every man and woman fights, but very few ever speak about. It's not the one others can see, it's the one that happens in the quiet corners of your mind. It's the war between who you are and who you know you could be. It's the silent fight that begins when the lights are off, the noise fades, and you are left alone with your thoughts. That's where the real test begins. You can win in front of people, you can perform under lights, you can smile for the crowd, but when the applause ends, can you face the version of yourself that no one knows? That's the question that separates the strong from the weak, the free from the enslaved, the fulfilled from the empty. The greatest battles are not fought on stages or in arenas. They are fought in bedrooms, in cars, in late-night walks, in the silence between decisions. You see, no one will ever fully understand the pain you carry, the weight you hide, or the thoughts that keep you awake at night. But that doesn't mean your struggle is meaningless. In fact, that hidden battle might be the very thing shaping you into who you were meant to become. The reason it's hidden is because it's sacred. You are being refined in private so you can stand with strength in public. The problem is, most people try to escape the battle. They distract themselves, they numb the pain, they pretend it doesn't exist. But what you run from will always wait for you at the next corner. The real battle is the one fought in silence when no one is watching. It's the kind of battle that doesn't make noise, doesn't attract applause, and doesn't seek attention. It happens in the quiet hours of the night when your mind begins to question everything you've been fighting for. It's the war between your potential and your excuses, between your strength and your fears. This battle doesn't require an audience, it requires honesty. It demands that you strip away every mask you wear for the world and confront the version of yourself that hides behind them. When no one is watching, the truth about who you are becomes impossible to ignore. That's when the fight begins, not for recognition, but for integrity. You start realizing that real strength isn't built in moments of praise, it's built in moments of private resistance. It's when you choose to get up instead of staying down, when you choose discipline over comfort, when you push through exhaustion without needing to be seen doing it. This unseen battle defines character more than any public victory ever could. Because when no one is watching, there's no one to impress, no one to validate your effort, no one to clap when you overcome. All that's left is you and the truth about what you truly want. That's why so many people lose this war. They rely on external motivation. They only move when eyes are on them, only give their best when someone else might notice. But the ones who win, the ones who rise above, are those who have learned to fight in silence. They understand that greatness is not born in the spotlight, it's built in solitude. It's built in the decision to keep going when quitting would be easier. It's built in the tears you wipe alone, in the sacrifices you make without recognition, in the moments you believe in yourself when nobody else does. When you fight in silence, you begin to hear your own voice again. You begin to understand your true capacity. You stop needing validation from the world because you've found validation within. You start to see that your discipline, your persistence, and your endurance are not for show, they're for survival. They're the weapons that carry you through life's unseen wars. These are the battles that reveal what kind of person you really are, not the one you pretend to be. It's easy to appear strong when the world is watching, but it takes something much deeper to remain strong when you are alone. It takes courage to face your fears without witnesses, to cry in silence and then stand back up as if nothing happened. That is the essence of the silent battle. It forges warriors out of ordinary souls, molding them into people who no longer need the world's approval to keep fighting. Hidden struggles are sacred spaces of transformation and growth. The world only sees the finished product, the success, the confidence, the strength, but it never witnesses the moments that forged those qualities. The nights when you questioned everything, the days when you carried pain so heavy that smiling felt like a lie, the moments when you wanted to give up but couldn't because something deep inside wouldn't let you. Those hidden struggles are not meaningless, they are sacred. They are the places where your character is built, where your heart learns to endure, and where your soul learns to trust itself. When you go through silent battles, you enter a private classroom where the lessons are written in pain, patience, and persistence. You begin to understand that what happens in secret is more important than what happens in public. Every tear shed in silence waters the seed of a stronger version of you. There is something divine about struggle. It refines what comfort could never touch. The challenges that break you in private are the same ones that prepare you for what's ahead. Growth is not loud, and transformation doesn't always announce itself. It happens slowly, quietly, in moments when no one would ever guess that you are changing. The sacred nature of hidden struggle lies in its ability to reveal truth. It shows you what you truly believe about yourself, about your worth, about your purpose. When life becomes silent and the support fades away, that's when you discover whether your faith is genuine or borrowed, whether your strength is internal or dependent on the crowd. The pain you feel is not punishment, it is purification. It strips away the false layers that the world has placed on you and brings you face to face with your authentic self. People often try to escape their hidden struggles, wishing the pain away, begging for the storm to end. But every storm has a purpose, every wound carries wisdom, every valley holds a vision. You can't see it when you're in the middle of it, but that sacred struggle is reshaping you from the inside out. It's teaching you endurance, patience, resilience, and humility, traits that no success story can be complete without. The process may be painful, but pain has always been the price of transformation. Every person who has risen above mediocrity has walked through seasons of isolation and silent suffering. They have learned that what happens unseen carries more power than what happens in front of others. The hidden struggle builds roots that keep you grounded when success comes. It teaches you how to stand when no one supports you, how to believe when everything around you falls apart, and how to keep moving when your strength feels gone. Those sacred spaces of pain and confusion are where your true identity is born, where you stop pretending to be who the world wants and start becoming who you were meant to be. Pain, discipline, and silence are tools for inner strength. They are not punishments but instruments of transformation. Pain teaches what comfort never could. It exposes weakness, strips away illusion, and reveals the depth of what lies within you. It's not there to destroy you but to develop you. Every moment of pain carries a lesson in endurance, every disappointment holds a message about resilience, and every setback whispers the truth that growth requires struggle. People often view pain as something to escape. But those who rise above understand it as a teacher. It's through pain that you learn how much pressure your heart can handle, how far your spirit can stretch, and how deep your purpose truly goes. Without pain, you would never discover your limits, and without discovering your limits, you would never know how to break them. Discipline, on the other hand, is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It's the decision to act when feelings disappear. It's what keeps you moving when motivation fades and the excitement of beginnings wears off. Discipline is choosing to show up when no one calls your name, to keep your word when it's inconvenient, to pursue consistency over comfort. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, and it's rarely applauded, but it's the foundation of every great life ever built. Discipline sharpens your focus, strengthens your will, and molds your mind to see beyond emotion. When you train yourself to obey principles rather than impulses, you gain control over your destiny. You begin to understand that freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's having the strength to do what you must, even when you don't feel like it. And then there is silence, perhaps the most underestimated tool of all. Silence is not emptiness, it's the space where strength gathers. In silence, distractions fade, and the noise of the world quiets down long enough for you to hear your own thoughts. It's in those still moments that clarity is born. You start to see patterns, recognize truth, and reconnect with your purpose. Silence is uncomfortable because it exposes everything you've been trying to hide. It reveals fears, insecurities, and wounds you'd rather ignore. But in that exposure lies healing. Silence teaches patience and self-awareness. It trains you to stop reacting to every external stimulus and to start responding with intention. When pain, discipline, and silence work together, they forge a strength that cannot be shaken by circumstance. Pain builds toughness, discipline builds consistency, and silence builds clarity. Together, they produce a kind of inner power that cannot be imitated or borrowed. It's the strength that remains steady when the world falls apart, the strength that doesn't crumble under pressure, and the strength that doesn't need to be seen to be real. These tools refine your character, sharpen your focus, and prepare you for challenges you can't yet imagine, turning every struggle into an opportunity for mastery and every obstacle into a pathway toward becoming unbreakable. True victory comes from confronting your unseen fears and doubts. The battles that define your destiny are rarely the ones that others witness, they are the ones that happen deep within, in the spaces where your fears whisper that you're not enough and your doubts tell you to stop trying. These inner voices are persistent, subtle, and sometimes convincing. They tell you to settle, to quit, to shrink your dreams into something more manageable. But the truth is, real strength is not about avoiding those fears, it's about facing them head on, even when they make you tremble. The people who rise in life are not those who never feel fear, but those who walk straight into it, determined to conquer what once controlled them. Fear doesn't disappear through denial, it dissolves through confrontation. When you face it, you rob it of its power. There's a moment in everyone's journey where the biggest obstacle is not the world around them but the war within them. You can change your environment, you can change your circle, but until you change the conversations happening inside your own mind, you'll stay stuck. The unseen fears are the most dangerous because they operate quietly. They stop you from speaking up, from trying again, from dreaming bigger. They make you settle for average when greatness is waiting. The only way to silence them is by proving them wrong with action. Every time you take a step forward despite fear, every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you show up when doubt tells you not to, you reclaim a part of yourself. You begin to realize that fear was never the enemy, it was the invitation to grow beyond what you thought was possible. Confrontation is not comfortable, but it is necessary. You can't defeat what you refuse to face. The moment you decide to confront your fears, life starts to shift. You start to see that what once looked like a mountain is only a shadow. Doubt begins to lose its grip because you've chosen to act in spite of it. You learn to stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if I never try?" That shift in mindset is where transformation begins. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You start replacing excuses with effort, hesitation with progress, and uncertainty with faith. True victory isn't loud or dramatic, it's quiet and deeply personal. It's the feeling of peace that comes from knowing you no longer run from yourself. It's the confidence that grows when you realize you can survive fear without letting it dictate your choices. It's the awareness that courage is not the absence of fear but the decision to move forward regardless of it. Every great achievement, every powerful transformation, every story of redemption begins with one simple act of defiance against fear. When you confront your unseen doubts, you step into a version of yourself that no longer seeks safety but strength, no longer hides in comfort but thrives in challenge, no longer asks, "Can I?" but declares, "I will." Growth often happens in invisible moments of perseverance. It doesn't always announce itself through big victories or public recognition. Most of the time, it's quiet, hidden in the routines, the discipline, and the countless small decisions that no one ever sees. Growth happens when you choose to get up one more time after failure. It happens when you keep showing up even though the results haven't come yet. It's forged in the repetition of effort, in the unseen consistency that turns weakness into strength. People often think transformation is sudden, but real growth is gradual, born from patience and persistence. It's a process that tests your faith, your endurance, and your willingness to keep going when progress feels invisible. The world measures success by what's visible, but life measures strength by what you keep doing in silence when no one is clapping for you. Those invisible moments shape your foundation. Every time you stay disciplined when no one notices, every time you choose focus over distraction, every time you give your best even without reward, you are expanding in ways that can't be seen yet. The seed doesn't sprout the day it's planted, it grows roots first, deep and unseen, preparing for the weight of its future. That's what perseverance does, it builds roots strong enough to sustain growth that lasts. People who chase quick results often collapse under the weight of success because they never develop the endurance to carry it. But those who have endured silent seasons, who have labored in faith, who have persisted through doubt, they are the ones who rise steady and unshakable when their time comes. Growth in invisible moments teaches humility. It reminds you that your value doesn't depend on applause or attention. It teaches you to trust the process, to understand that even when nothing seems to be changing, something is always happening beneath the surface. It's in those quiet stretches of time that your patience deepens, your resolve strengthens, and your purpose becomes clearer. The delay isn't denial, it's development. Every obstacle is a sculptor, every setback a teacher, every unseen effort a building block of resilience. You learn to stop craving validation and start valuing consistency. You start to see that greatness is not a result of one grand decision but of thousands of small, unseen choices that compound over time. Perseverance doesn't look impressive, but it's the heartbeat of progress. It's what keeps you moving when motivation fades, what keeps your hands working when your heart feels tired, and what reminds you that quitting is not an option. Growth doesn't need witnesses, it needs faith. It needs you to trust that every drop of effort is leading you somewhere meaningful. When you learn to embrace those invisible moments, you stop measuring success by recognition and start measuring it by transformation. You begin to understand that the quiet persistence of today is the foundation of the greatness you will walk in tomorrow, that the unseen work you do now is shaping the person you are becoming. The unseen battle shapes the warrior the world will one day recognize. Every person who has ever stood strong in the light has first endured seasons of darkness. The strength that others admire was not built in comfort but in quiet conflict. It's in the unseen battles, the private struggles, the lonely nights, the moments of doubt, that a warrior is born. The world only sees the outcome, not the process. It sees the armor but not the scars beneath it. It sees the victory but not the countless times you fell and got back up. What people call strength is really the result of resilience forged in the fire of unseen struggle. Every challenge that felt unbearable, every disappointment that made you question your purpose, every tear shed in silence was part of your training. Life uses pain as a sculptor, carving out weakness and shaping endurance until what remains is unbreakable. The unseen battle doesn't just test your strength, it defines your identity. It reveals who you are when no one is watching, when there's no reward in sight, and when quitting would be the easier choice. That's when the warrior within starts to emerge. A warrior isn't built through applause or validation but through persistence and pain. The warrior is not the person who never falls but the one who refuses to stay down. Every struggle, every unseen fight, every silent prayer adds a layer of resilience. What breaks others builds the warrior. The moments that seem like defeat are actually the moments of shaping. You learn to endure without recognition, to fight without praise, to believe without proof. That's the kind of strength that can't be taught, it must be earned through experience. The world will one day see the warrior and call it talent, luck, or destiny, but you'll know it was built through consistency in the shadows. You'll know it came from the times you kept going with a weary heart, from the nights you stayed disciplined when no one was watching, from the moments you chose growth over comfort. The unseen battles refine your focus, teach you humility, and prepare you to carry the weight of victory with grace. They give you empathy for others still fighting their own silent wars. When the time comes for you to step into the light, you won't crumble under pressure because the darkness already trained you to stand alone. You won't need to prove anything because the battle already proved you to yourself. The warrior the world will one day recognize isn't the product of luck or chance but of intentional endurance. They are shaped by struggle, molded by pain, and defined by persistence. What was once unseen becomes undeniable because every sacrifice, every moment of perseverance, every silent victory adds to the strength of your spirit. When your moment finally arrives, the world will see the result, but you'll remember the process. The silent battles that made you, the unseen fight that turned your wounds into wisdom, and the relentless fire that turned your pain into power.